I arrived late, 6th at 17 p.m. to be exact. The gala had already started. It was held at the Four Seasons Ballroom downtown, the same place Jason had his engagement dinner 7 years ago. Back then, he asked if I could help with the deposit. I wired $3,000 without asking questions. I remember thinking, this is what moms do. This time, no one greeted me. A young woman at the registration table looked confused when I gave my name, then checked a side box. "Ah," she said, pulling out a name tag with a grin. "You're the janitor queen." Jason said it's like, cute, inspirational. She handed it to me like it was normal. It wasn't. The tag was glossy, printed in silver. Beneath it, in small italics, Rehab Warrior. My throat dried. I pinned it to my dress anyway. What was I going to do? Throw it? The ballroom lights dimmed. Jason took the stage, all charm and white teeth. Behind him, the LED screen lit up, from rehab floors to platinum lessons from my janitor queen. And that's when it clicked. The joke wasn't off script. It was the script. He grinned, gestured toward me. "My mom's here tonight. She's seen it all." Crawling through the filth, literally. She worked in rehab centers, cleaned messes most of you can't imagine. That's perseverance. The crowd laughed. Some clapped. I sat still, hands folded in my lap, nails digging into my skin. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I hit record on my phone. Quiet. Wouldn't it be easier to laugh along? Maybe. But if I've learned anything working in addiction recovery, it's this pretending doesn't stop the damage. It just delays it. And honestly, if he's so proud of me, why not say mother instead of janitor? If my job's not real, why did he list me as an asset in his last investor pitch? Someone slid into the seat next to me. Lisa, my co-worker from the center. She leaned over, whispered, "He's lucky you came at all." I would have walked out. I didn't answer her. I just stared at the screen. And quietly, I hated that I'd let things go this far. I hated that I once rewrote his resume to help him get his first job, and now he rewrote my life for punchlines. At 6:43 p.m., I got a notification voice memo from his assistant, labeled Post-Gala Debrief, sent to me by mistake. I tapped download and didn't press play yet. I didn't listen to it right away. I waited until I got home, changed into my pajamas, made decaf, and sat at the kitchen table, the same one Jason spilled grape juice on when he was 6, and swore the table was cursed. It was 9:48 p.m. on the dot. I put on my reading glasses, turned the volume low, and finally tapped play. His voice came through first. Relaxed, confident. "Okay, so, overall great energy in the room. Sponsors loved it. And the janitor queen thing, it landed." Everyone laughed. I felt my fingers tighten around the mug. Then came his assistant. "Yeah, some people were like, is that really his mom?" She seemed stiff. "Jason, she bought the place. She might as well clean it." I paused. Rewound. Played that line again. "She bought the place. She might as well clean it." You know what hurt most? It wasn't the insult. It was how casual he sounded. Like I was a line item, a resource, a joke with a bank account. And here's the thing I keep circling back to. If I'm just the cleaner, why was my name on the original venue lease in 2016? If I'm not part of his team, then why did his business account use my home address for 2 years? I texted Linda, my friend from the center. Just 4 words. Just heard the memo. She replied almost instantly. "Send it to yourself. Save the timestamp. Don't touch anything else." So I did. Forwarded it to my Gmail. Start it. Saved the attachment to a new folder, Jason Gala. I added the date, March 14th, 2026. He once told me, "You're the most loyal person I know, Mom." I used to smile at that. Now I see what he really meant was, "You're the easiest to count on and the hardest to say no." I'd ignored so many signs when he asked me to just sign the check for the logo designer when he slipped my name onto vendor forms without telling me. I told myself he's building something. I'm just helping. But if this is help, why do I feel disposable? At 10:11 p.m., I opened the file again. This time, I started writing down a transcript line by line because I had a feeling this wouldn't be the last time I'd need it. Thursday morning, March 16th. I was sitting in the waiting room at my dentist's office, small place off Burnside, with magazines from 2022 and that same vanilla-scented air freshener they always use. My appointment was for 10:15 a.m. I had 10 minutes to kill, so I opened the banking app. Just habit. I wasn't expecting anything strange. The screen loaded. The trust account had $5,000 less than it should have. My stomach dropped. Transaction label venue balance, transferred by mother, not by Jason, not authorized by trustee, just by mother. All caps. I didn't touch a thing. I hadn't logged into the main dashboard in weeks. I know how this works. If you're listed as authorized contact, you can request wire moves over the phone, especially if the account was set up by you in the first place. Jason knew that. I didn't text him. I didn't ask. I just took 3 screenshots and saved them to the same folder. Then I clicked on Scheduled Activity. That's when I saw it. Next Friday, March 24th, another $5,000 scheduled to go out. Same memo line, same target account. I remember blinking at the screen and thinking, if he can pay for a platinum gala, why is he still using my trust fund? If I'm just the janitor, why is my name still the one they charge through? Right. Then I got a text from Linda. How's the tooth? I typed back. Numb. Then added, not from the dentist. She called me 2 minutes later. I'm coming over tonight. Bring wine or fire your call. I tried to smile, but couldn't. Not even at that. I kept hearing that word, mother. Not mom, not trustee. Just a roll cold and functional. And maybe that's on me. I never pushed back when he borrowed for just this once. I didn't blink when he said you won't notice. At some point, I stopped correcting the little things, and they got bigger. At 11:02 a.m. before heading home, I printed the bank statement right there at the office kiosk. Black and white. Paper trail. Because next time I ask a question, I plan to bring receipts. Friday night, March 17th. I sat on my couch with my laptop feet up on the old ottoman I've had since '96. Jason used to flip it over and hide toys inside. Now I was digging through my inbox instead of toy bins, pulling old emails, texts, Venmo screenshots. One email hit me hardest. April 12th, 2023. Subject line. Thanks again, message. Appreciate you covering security again. You're the best. No greeting, no name, no punctuation. After again, just expectations sent at 11:42 p.m. Then another need to update the signage. Can you cover? I'll pay you back when things level out. That was from August. No payback came. And there it was plain. This wasn't one slip up. It was a rhythm. Jason asks. I fill the gap. He thanks me like I'm an auto payment feature. I told myself it was temporary, supportive, what any mom would do. But when do helping and being used start to blur? I opened a folder where I keep old photos. One caught me. His college graduation, 2011. I'm standing behind him holding a bouquet I bought at a gas station, $18.95. I remember because I skipped lunch that day to afford it. I'm smiling wide in the picture, but I remember my back hurt like hell from standing too long. I opened a new browser tab, typed in transfer of trust fund authority, then stopped. I wasn't ready for that step. Not yet. Linda called while I was halfway through rereading another email. You look like someone who's about to send a war declaration, she joked. I'm just reading old stuff, I said. Well, don't read too hard. You can't change history. You can only change access. That stuck. Access. I closed the photo folder and opened my drafts. Started typing Jason moving forward. All fund-related activity needs my written approval. That's all. No anger, no lecture, just a boundary. Then I hovered over the send button. My hand paused. I couldn't press it. Not yet. Maybe I was scared he'd read it and think I didn't love him, or worse, that he'd agree too easily, like it meant nothing. So I saved the draft, logged out, went to refill my water. I needed to think clearly before doing anything permanent. Saturday morning, March 18th. I pulled the blue binder from the bottom drawer, the one with the cracked spine and a coffee ring on the cover. I hadn't opened it in years. I set it on the kitchen table, wiped my hands on a dish towel, and flipped to the tab marked Trust. The pages smelled like paper and dust. Familiar. Heavy. Clause 14 sat right where I remembered it. Plain language. No drama. Discretionary withdrawals remain under the sole authority of the grantor. That was me. Not family. Not team. Me. I read it twice then, a third time slower. My jaw tightened. I hadn't lost control. I'd just stopped using it. I picked up my phone and called the bank. Not Jason. The bank. After 2 menus, a woman named Carla answered. I told her my name. She paused, then said, I see the account. I asked one question. Can I pause discretionary transfers today? She didn't lecture me. She didn't ask why. She said yes. I can do that right now. If this was really about family, why did it require my signature every time? If they could cover costs, why schedule withdrawals under my name quietly ahead of time? Carla added, almost offhand, You're still listed as primary decision maker, as if she was reminding me of where my keys were. I thanked her. My voice sounded steady. My hands weren't. I hung up and sat there staring at the binder. I felt a pinch in my chest. Shame, maybe, or grief. I thought about my grandson and the way he runs at me arms wide like I'm the safest thing in the room. I worried quietly if this would cost me that. I hated that thought. I hated that I'd trained myself to fear consequences for setting limits. I opened my laptop. Drafts folder. The email was already there from the night before. 1 sentence. No greeting. No explanation. I reread it and deleted 3 extra words. Kept it clean. I hit send. All discretionary transfers are paused. Within minutes, my phone buzzed. Once, then again. I turned it face down and closed the binder. The house was quiet. Too quiet. And I knew the quiet wouldn't last. Monday morning came and went. Nothing. No call, no email, no knock. I made coffee at 6:45, same mug as always, the one with the faded cafe strong print from that charity walk back in 2014. I stared at the phone. It stayed quiet. That part hurt more than I expected. I wasn't sure if I wanted a fight or just anything. It wasn't until Tuesday night, 13 p.m., that my phone finally buzzed. 1 line, no punctuation, no hi mom. Just pause why. 4 words that somehow managed to sound both clueless and arrogant. I sat there holding the phone, not angry, not sad, just tired. I didn't reply. I thought, if you're really paying for it, why does my pause stop anything? If we're family, why does every interaction start with a demand and end in silence? Unless I give in, I told Lisa at work. She was the only one I could vent to without getting a lecture. She looked up from her spreadsheet and said, "Let me guess. Now they want a conversation?" I nodded. She snorted. Classic. They ignore you for days and then act like you're the one who changed. The next evening, my daughter-in-law called. I recognized the tone before she even finished saying, "Hi." That mix of fake concern and barely hidden frustration. She asked if everything was okay. I said, "You mean financially or personally?" She didn't laugh. She jumped straight to Jason said, "You froze things. We're just confused. I didn't explain." I said 1 sentence. "Everything's still under my name." That's when her voice changed, sharper. So you're holding it hostage? I blinked. That word settled like dust. I almost said, "You mean like the way he introduced me as a janitor in front of 300 people?" But I didn't. I just said, "You called me," not the other way around. I hung up before I said anything I'd regret. My hand was shaking. Not from rage, from something else. Shame, grief, maybe both. I hated the way I second-guessed myself. Hated that a part of me still wanted their approval. 10 minutes later, she texted, "We'll come by Friday. 7 p.m. Talk in person." I didn't respond. I just looked at the clock, got up, and started clearing the dining table. Friday 6, 58 p.m. I was already sitting at the dining table when I heard their SUV, Jason's leased Escalade, pull into the driveway. The clock clicked to 7:00. Right on time. But I noticed they didn't knock right away. They sat in the car for at least 2 minutes, probably rehearsing. When they walked in, she led the way. Tight smile. Not fake enough to be obvious, not real enough to be warm. Jason stayed quiet. She did the talking. We just wanted to clear the air. You know how much Jason's reputation means. And this kind of thing affects our image. I didn't blink. I sipped my coffee. I didn't say, "You mean the same reputation you used when you labeled me janitor queen?" On that screen at the gala, I let her keep going. She leaned in a little. "If you love us, support us. Like always." I tilted my head. "Like always," I repeated. I could feel my pulse in my jaw. "So, if I don't support you financially, that means I don't love you." She hesitated. I pressed. "If Jason's doing so well, why does my signature still decide whether you get the venue or not?" Jason spoke up finally. "That's not fair. This isn't about money." I turned to him. "Then why are we talking about accounts instead of apologies?" He looked away. Lisa, my coworker, had warned me. Don't expect honesty. Expect a script. She was right. That line about "if you love us" wasn't spontaneous. It was planned. I wish I could say I felt strong in that moment, but the truth, I was shaking under the table. I felt 10 years older. I felt like a mother who'd somehow raised a man who thought of money first and dignity last. And worse, I saw my grandkids in my mind and I panicked. What if I lose them in this still I had to choose? So I said it. Calm. Final. The accounts paused. Not my love. That line landed, not with impact, but silence. Bree's jaw tensed. Jason's foot tapped. I looked down at the table at the small notepad I'd brought out, but hadn't touched. Then I flipped the page over and picked up my pen. January 17th, 45 a.m. I parked 2 blocks away from the CPA's office in Highland Park, partly out of habit, partly because I needed to walk off the tension. I'd triple-checked everything, 3 months of statements printed, each clipped by category, and the red folder marked Family Trust. Discretionary. I even brought a highlighter. I hadn't done that since Lisa and I audited a grant proposal back in 2016. The waiting room smelled like stale coffee and toner. I sat with the binder on my lap, thumbs pressed tight over the cover. My legs bounced. I caught myself and stopped. When the assistant called my name, I stood like I'd been called into the principal's office. Maya, the CPA, was warm but brisk. "You brought the paperwork?" I opened the folder. She scanned the transfers, the memos, the withdrawal dates. "Huh?" she said, flipping to the December sheet. This one labeled baby shower flowers. Was that from your account? I nodded. Without my consent. She looked up. "You've been more than generous." Ready to pivot. Her tone wasn't judgment. It was quiet confirmation. And in that moment, I let myself say it out loud. I think I trained them to think I'd never say no. There. No deflection. Just a fact. She tapped her pen on the folder. "We can restructure the disbursement rules. Keep the trust set terms, lock withdrawals. I asked, would that be too cold? Then I stopped myself. Wait, why am I the only one worried about being cold? Maya didn't answer that, just smiled and passed me a sample form. I sat back, let my breath fall out slow. The part I didn't admit out loud, I'd seen the signs. The wedding venue I'd never been invited to, but paid for. The Tesla Model Y lease that magically overlapped with a loan request. The "will explain later" texts. I'd told myself it was just young couple chaos. But really, I was afraid. Afraid of losing what little closeness I had left. Especially with the kids. But fear isn't a plan. This was. I initialed the top of the new form, then stopped halfway down the second page. Because I just remembered Jason still hadn't logged in to cancel Friday's transfer. January 19th, 9:00 a.m. I picked the coffee shop on Arroyo Parkway neutral public, and loud enough so no one could pretend they misheard anything. I got there early, ordered a plain drip black, found a booth by the window. When they arrived, Jason in a blazer too tight, Bree in a beige trench, like she was headed to court. I didn't stand up, just nodded and tapped the seat. Jason glanced at the table, saw the small envelope with his name on it, didn't touch it. Bree sat crossed her legs like she had somewhere better to be. No hugs, no "hi, Mom," just her looking around the shop and muttering, "So, this is dramatic." I didn't respond. Just let the silence sit a second longer. Then I said, "Friday's transfer is still scheduled." You knew that. Jason looked at me finally. "It's automated, and you chose not to cancel it." He leaned back. "We thought you were bluffing." That sentence alone told me more than I needed. Not surprised, just noted. Then Bree leaned in, voice low. "If this goes public, if you start filing forms or freezing things, you'll ruin his reputation. Your son." I looked right at her. "If your reputation depends on money from a janitor, maybe it's not built on much." She blinked. I didn't wait. I slid the envelope forward. "It's a restructure. New terms for discretionary releases. I'm not canceling support. I'm just making it accountable." Jason didn't open it. He asked, "You really think this is family?" I stared at him. "If it is, why do I only get called when a wire's needed?" No answer. Across the shop, Lisa the barista, who's seen me come in for years, raised her eyebrows at me like, "You good?" I gave her a half nod. Not sure I was. Because I won't lie. I hated this part. The coldness. The damn envelope. I used to bake banana bread for this boy every Sunday before his baseball games. Now I'm passing him legal papers over coffee. I stood, didn't wait for their reaction. Because next I had one more place to stop County Office Records Division. February 2nd, 6th, 15 p.m. Same ballroom, same gold uplighting. Same scent of overcooked hors d'oeuvres drifting through the vents. The only difference this time, I was invited to speak officially. A small nonprofit Jason once ignored had asked me to say a few words about workforce reentry. They didn't know the backstory. Or maybe they did. I stood near the stage holding the same wireless mic from the gala. That moment replayed in my head, him beaming, calling me the janitor queen. Laughter echoing. Me, frozen. Not this time. I didn't clear my throat. Just said it plain, everyone's work has dignity. Including mine, including yours. One clap, then more. A row of women in the front one in a Target name tag still on her chest nodded like they'd been waiting to hear it all year. I didn't make it a speech. I didn't need applause. I just wanted to reclaim that mic, not to shame him, but to stop shrinking around his version of the truth. After I stepped off stage, a guy from catering, maybe 20 buzzcut carrying folding chairs, whispered, "Your rehab job saved my uncle." Then added, "Thanks for saying it out loud." I almost lost it right there. And still part of me. God help me, looked around, hoping Jason was in the back. Watching. Regretting. But I knew better. I remembered what my friend Claire had said over coffee just 2 nights before. Honey, if they only value you when you're quiet and paying, they don't value you. She always said it direct. That night I heard her words louder than the claps. I won't lie. I still felt a sting. I kept thinking about all the years I showed up, paid up, shut up. Was that love? Or fear of losing what little closeness we had left? Because deep down, I didn't want to be right. I wanted my son back. But you don't get both. The mic buzzed as I handed it off. And then, without drama, without a show, I took a breath, picked up my coat, and stepped outside. Next stop, the trust office. Quietly,